Hey everybody, can you hear me this time? Hey, hey everyone. So I do have my guest here. She's backstage, but before we get started here, just let a couple people roll in for a minute. Then I just want to address something. Once we get a few more people in here, we'll go from there. Hi Stacy. Hi Nirvana, Camilla, Cynthia, Katie, Tamara. Yes, I have a guest. I have a guest. Yup. Her name's Lisa. She's backstage waiting right now. I'm gonna add her in a second. Hey Sabrina. Hey Ash. What's up, Ash? Did you see that iJessie's account is down? Alright. This is giving me anxiety. Let me just address this. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's just talk about this for a second. So, as a lot of you know, you may or may not know that last night I kind of called iJessie out on his shenanigans. And oh, Angie, you got your painting? I'm so glad you finally got it. Yay. That's good. Good. Sorry, I didn't mean to veer off there. Bayou, yes, you can see and hear me. Thank God. All right, so where was I? iJessie. So now listen. I said to iJessie, stop the shenanigans, whatever. Well, today he wants to. Now listen, like I said, I don't know this for a fact, but I also know I'm not stupid, and I'm usually right about these weird little, idiosyncrasies I'm picking up on here. There is somebody in chat who is named Incognito. He writes like Jessie, he talks like Jessie, he's sticking up for Jessie, saying his name's Michael, not Michael Saltz, the other Michael there, whatever, okay? Make a long story short, he is threatening self-harm, and I am not okay with that. I mean, listen, Jessie, if you're listening, this is the internet, it's not that serious. Please just, take a deep breath. Look, I heard someone just told me he took his account down. I really hope that's not the case, man. He's making a mountain out of a molehill here. It's not a molehill, but he's making a Mount Everest out of a small mountain, if you will. And he's just making it worse for himself. And I think this is the reason why a lot of people from the get-go were like, hey, I wouldn't even make a video about this kid because, I just think, now I get it, guys. To all you people that told me that, I get it. Because, I don't want to upset him on this level, but the threatening of the self-harm, I also am smart enough to know that a lot of times, I'm not saying every time, but a lot of times, people threaten self-harm when they don't get their way or when they, are backed into a corner, and I hope that that's the case and not the other way around. I did put out a couple of phone numbers for him for the UK in case he needs help or whatever. I just don't want to see that happen to anybody. At the end of the day, we're all here, to have each other's backs, and I think that's where my disappointment comes in. But at the same time, if I'm worked up enough to be disappointed in you, that means I expect better of you, and if I expect better of you, I don't want you to hurt yourself. And I don't think I know anybody doesn't want that. I know that. Nobody wants that, so please don't do that. Please stop the nonsense. I mean, and a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, somebody asked me a little while ago, why haven't you just blocked him, deleted his messages? Well, there's a method behind my madness. If you haven't noticed, this person, this, incognito person is just digging themselves into a hole, talking about, the little, doxing, we'll call it that, situation, and they're replaying it, and it's almost like I'm just sitting back screenshotting this, okay, just keep talking, dude, just keep talking. After this stream right here is over, I am going to go in and I am going to delete any of the crazy messages and the threats and things like that, but there was a method behind it. You might not agree with me, and that's fine, but, so Emily's Zoom call is still going, maybe a little late. Okay, that's fine. All right. No rush. Hey, you know what? We're all we're recorded here, so they could just come back later if they want. Hey, Vlad. Hey, Julie. Hey, Julie. I feel bad for Julie too, because now he's really going at Julie, and and I wanted this to stop, and it seems like it's intensified, but I can't say I'm surprised. So, Jesse, please just don't hurt yourself. Don't take your channel down. Nobody wants you to do that. Okay? We do care about you as a human being. You might be on my shit list right now, but I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't think anybody does. So, anyways, like I said, that gave me anxiety because I don't want it to happen for one, and I also know that it could be a manipulation tactic. Now I'm sitting here wondering which one it is, But at any event, I am gonna bring in my guest here. Her name is Lisa. So here we go. I'm gonna add Lisa to the stream. Lisa.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa. What's up?
How are you doing tonight?
I got a little bit of anxiety, like this whole Jesse thing. I just don't want anybody to say crazy things like this, and it's sad that whoever this incognito person is, it feels the need to do that. It's the internet at the end of the day. But anyways, let's get into what we're all here for. So, as we all know, I made a video a couple weeks ago. When I think it was a couple weeks ago, right, Lisa? It wasn't like a month ago this happened, was it?
No, it was a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. I mean, it feels like this has been the longest January ever. Hasn't it felt that way?
Yes, it has.
Like, I think Emily said it the other night too. Like, why does this January feel like we've been in it for 20 friggin' years? And hi, Jackie. Hey, everybody. Yeah, it's just long. The January and February are the worst months of the year anyways. They're just dark and cold and long and miserable and, over it. I think a lot of us are.
Totally.
Yep.
Those are not my favorite months.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's talk about how you and I got to talking. So, I checked my emails last week and I had an email from Lisa and she was like, hey, I saw your video. I just want to let you know that, the whole Dr. Phil thing is real. And I'm actually the one who wrote to him. Now, in my head, I get a lot of emails. Some of them I don't even respond to because people are, people are people. But I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I started to talk to Lisa a little bit more, and I realized she's normal.
Yes.
From what I can tell, anyways. I mean, come on.
Well,
just kidding.
No, I know.
So then we talked on the phone a couple times. So, so Lisa, if you want to just start everyone off and tell them, why you wrote to Dr. Phil, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
So I actually really like Dr. Phil. I think that he has a lot of amazing things that he does. For example, he has spent $35 million in aftercare for his guests. So he does follow up, he does take care of these people. And
can I just stop you right there for 1 second, Lisa? Now, on that note, because I know if you keep talking, I'm going to forget to go back to it. So I'm bad at interrupting people, so please forgive me. It's something I'm trying to work on. But anyways, so I remember that KJ had said that, she didn't like Dr. Phil because he didn't provide aftercare. And, like, anybody who's watched the show has, watched this man sit there and be like, hey, we'll give you, long-term care. So, I mean, like you said, that's one of the reasons why you like him. So, yeah, I just want to point that out, that KJ said he doesn't do that, and he factually does. So, go ahead.
Right. So that's why I was wanting to start in that spot, because when I saw that, I thought, are you kidding me? But yeah, so he always does this aftercare with the families. And then another thing is, he is kind of funny because he always says things like, I'm the most um not, oh gosh, it just slipped my mind, about being he's the least judgmental person he's ever met. And he
Right.
says that in a way to, with his guests, some people think that he goes after them hard at the beginning, but he's very fact driven. He does his homework when people act like he doesn't, and then when they're
Not
on
only
the
does
show,
he do it,
like,
he's got people.
oh
He's got
crap.
people that help him. He's got lots of people doing homework for him. So it's a whole team of people. Yeah.
Right. And I've never seen an episode where everything could be going so terribly wrong, but then he gives that compassion and he helps, and he helps a lot. He
Right.
So to me, yeah, it might suck to have your stuff, out in the open, but if you're in a bad place and you need some help, I disagree with when Katie said, well, anyone could just go get counseling. Well, yeah, anybody could just get counseling if you pick up the phone. However, the resources that he has to help people are pretty amazing.
Yeah. So this Truffle 85 here. Yeah, why does Dr. Phil OKJ anything?
Right. Yeah.
Why does anybody OKJ anything? Good question, Truffle.
Yeah, that is a very good question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, just interrupt me if there's a question that
Yeah,
you
I
just
mean, yeah,
find.
so he doesn't owe her anything, but I mean,
Right.
you did reach out to them for help, and now you gotta remember, guys, how many people probably write to Dr. Phil, right? Like a lot. I can only imagine that a lot of people reach out, and a lot of people probably don't get responses. They get declined. I mean, he's a busy man, So you
Right.
actually got a response. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about why you chose to write what you wrote and things like that.
Okay.
Well, hold
So,
on, real quick, real
yeah.
quick. So before we start getting the questions, like, why don't you just show us, right? Because that's gonna happen. It's very
Okay. Go ahead.
predictable sometimes. So basically, you know, she had planned on sharing everything with me, the emails. I mean, I have seen little bits and pieces of them. However, there was fine print at the bottom that stated that you cannot share all the details publicly. The actual back and forth emails, you can talk about them, you just can't share them, correct? So before anybody starts asking, like, hey, just show us, we can't do that. Dr. Phil's show asked her not to do that. I know they're legit because I've seen little pieces of it, but anyways, go ahead,
Right.
tell them why you decided to write. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that is true. It says on there very clearly that it's privileged and confidential, and I didn't realize that till I was trying to blow it up to send you more stuff. But
Right.
so yeah, otherwise I'd be thrilled to show it. But
Right, because
in their
initially you were gonna
defense,
show me, but then you were starting
right.
to take it all apart, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't even see this." So yeah, that's what happened
Yeah.
with that, guys. But
Right.
all right,
And there, as far as how Dr. Phil kind of works is they don't just contact the person one time usually. So they want things to be protected until it's done. Okay, so I'm gonna really quick read part of the first email because I got this email back the same day that I
the same
submitted.
day. And
Yes.
was it like an automated one, you think, or was it like?
Nope.
I'll just let you explain. Sorry, I'm asking too many questions. Okay,
Oh
real
no,
quick.
you're
Thank you,
fine.
Lord Tybo Baggins and Ween Fane. Thank you very much. Very much. Thank you very much, both of you. But go ahead. Okay.
Nice, nice. Okay.
Ween Fane, I don't
So,
like Starbucks anyways. I'm a Dunkin' girl. I'm not a big fan of Starbucks. It's too dark. I don't know, man. I mean, like, I like their frozen drinks, but that's okay. We'll let it slide. Hey, Erin, what's up? All right. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you're fine. Okay, so yeah, it isn't an automated response, and um, the first thing on the top says Dr. Phil read your submission. And then KJ did say about Christy was the producer that she doesn't believe, but she is. And
Christy is a real
it says,
person. Yes, she
yeah,
is. Yep.
a real producer on the show. And so it starts off with, hi, my name is Christy, and I'm on the I'm just trying to make sure I don't read anything that I shouldn't. Okay. I'm a producer with Dr. Phil. I read your submission to Dr. Phil, and I think you will be a great fit for any upcoming taping. Please note we've returned to season 19 with new protocols due to COVID-19 pandemic for the health and safety of everyone. In order to be selected, all staff and any in person show guests. Some guests will be via video call, are required to travel via car to Los Angeles and agree for COVID testing throughout the taking process.
Oh, okay. Hold up real quick. So
Hmm.
I also remember KJ, one of the. No, so she said Dr. Phil didn't offer aftercare, and then she said, "Oh, they're crazy." Oh, thank you, crack the f up. Thank you so much. They're crazy if they think that I would drive, I would, excuse me, or I would fly out there in the middle of coronavirus season, and they're crazy, and whatever. So, oh, another thing too. EKC just told me that Katie was supposed to go live at 9 o'clock, but she's running late. So hi, Katie. Hi. I mean,
Oh
I
my
just
god.
saying. When is she come? All right. Anyways, so she responded back to you and said, "Hey, we know coronavirus is going on. Hey, we're still interested. Yada yada."
Yes.
So you must have grabbed her attention with your letter, huh?
Yeah, and then like right after that, it says, "This is all paid for and arranged by the staff."
Mm.
So there's still, a lot more information in that, but it's not, of course, important, too important. And then, of course, she signs it with her name, has her business card attached, and
Right, and I saw
then,
that. Yeah, yep. And that was
yes,
the same Christy that I found online. I'm not going to say her last name, but it was the same one that I actually did
right.
come across. But I didn't look too hard, but it was the same exact last name, and I'm like, okay, so that's how I knew you were legit because the little pieces you were sending me, I had kind of figured out myself, anyways. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so what made you,
Okay, yeah,
like
that's what
just
I was going to say. So, um, what first made me, I've been watching the situation for a while. But then when Katie went and did the Instagram um live and saying that she was suicidal pretty much,
right,
I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Either she is suicidal and needs some help or she's lying to get attention. And of course, I don't know the real answer. I mean, I think it played out, but at that moment, I had a lot of things that I was kind of concerned about, and I just
mm-hmm.
weighed them and decided to write him about it. Now,
So it was after that whole like suicide threat that
yeah,
is when you that was like, okay, now I'm gonna write, okay.
right, yeah, because and I don't remember exactly what day from that because I watched it later in the really late, maybe evening. I'm not even sure of what time it exactly came out. And then that night, I was just laying in bed and thinking, it doesn't really matter if I like her or not. I don't think I would get along with her, but she has a child and this is
Right,
their sole income. And
right.
she's all the money that she's paying just in attorney fees
Oh my
is a
god, can you
lot,
imagine?
especially. No.
Can you even imagine, like, not to get off topic real quick, but there was another filing today, I guess, and like I was listening to my crush there, uncivil law, holla, uncivil law, holla. No, but I was listening to him, and in the middle of his reading, he was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Another one just came through. It was like I don't even know how many pages, dude. But I hope that lawyer ain't charging her by like the page or the frickin' sentence. I don't know, man, but that's a lot. That's a lot. So yeah, you
A
were like,
lot.
"Hey, red flag, dude. She's gonna lose everything. I'm gonna try to help
Right.
her." So you literally had good intentions, and that's what I want people to
Exactly.
understand. Like,
That's
a lot of people assumed that whoever wrote to Dr. Phil, if it did happen, it was just somebody being a jerk and was like, "Yeah, this lady's nuts. Come get your girl." It's like, Dr. Phil, come
right.
get the girl. You know what I mean?
I know, I
So
love that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
wasn't
my
the
my
case at all. So yeah,
intention, yeah, my intention 100% was for help. And because I was concerned, she's got a, according to her words, medically fragile child.
right,
Um and he has to have a nurse there with him, and it goes back and forth on whether, well, Todd doesn't have a job outside the house, but he helps her with stuff, I guess. So the concern
Mhm.
that I really saw, it was multifaceted. So one was that I was very worried she was going to be in a very bad situation with the financial cost of your attorney, and then if she goes to Seattle or Washington, she's going to have to go to Washington. I mean, there's a lot of, she could lose everything. I know she says she can't and she won't. However, she can, not just by losing, but all the money you've got to put out to defend yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
she wouldn't, she can't afford to pay them $5 million. So she's going to defend herself. But then, so that was a huge concern for me. And the fact of, and I hate to even bring this up because it's a child, but whatever is wrong with her child, I have heard so many different things watching her on what is wrong with him, and I
Right.
still don't really know.
Right. Well, here's the thing, man. And I meant to try to grab this, but
Yeah.
all hell broke loose in my comment section and everything else. But, I'm part of, like, I think I mentioned the Reddit, WACB Reddit to you when I spoke to you on the phone, and how these people
Right.
are amazing. They track everything. It's organized. I mean, the thing is though, there is a list going, and I know Steve, her old buddy there, Steve, had
Go
once,
ahead.
had once I saw him leave the list. He has the list too. I think he made the list himself, and like added all these people started putting on Reddit, and the list. When I tell you that the list is about 90 diagnoses deep, I'm literally not even kidding. Like, it was a lot of things. Now, granted, we don't know, the people that put them on the list might, who knows, but I
Who
do know
knows?
for a fact, and I think a lot of people in the chat can vouch for this, that we've heard her, not really lately, but more so like a while ago, she would say he's
Right.
got this, that, the other thing. So why don't you yeah, explain to these
Yeah.
people what
So
you said to me that like blew my mind, and I'm like, I didn't even think of that. So go ahead.
yeah. So the other part of, like I said, is she could lose everything. Is she does have this child, and he seems to have a ton of medical diagnoses. And one thing that I've always thought was cool is on Dr. Phil, the medical resources that he has, would be able to help and possibly, help them out, her and Todd, on what is going on, what do they need to do. And all of these doctors that he's connected with could actually help. And
Right. And
yeah,
when you said that to me, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Because, like, I just assumed, jokes on me. Because, when you assume, make it ask you and me, right,
oh,
guys? But
oh,
I just assumed it was a joke. So I didn't let my brain go in that far to, like, oh, if she does accept the help, that good things can actually happen. So when she went live and was like, he doesn't have aftercare, coronavirus, da 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 da, that's not the case at all. Like, if you think about this, and this really blew my mind, and I actually really respect you for even writing to begin with, because you literally thought about her child. You thought about, what this team, because Dr. Phil is a connected man. At the very least, like, say what you want
yes,
about him, he's not a real doctor, whatever people say about him, right? He has connections, right? And he has the power to, like, literally get you in with the biggest specialists, like, ever, so you would figure, as a mother, right, if
right,
somebody, if you had an opportunity to have prime physicians, whatever it may be, specialists in your child's life, you would jump. I would, anyways, right? Jump on that.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then those guests don't have to pay for that medical help either. And
Right.
so to me, I honestly was thinking, you know what, there's so many reasons he could help her, but he could help her son with whatever medical diagnosis. Like, I don't know if she's just been given a ton or whether it's changed. I don't really know, but I don't,
Or
it seems like
or
that.
Lisa. or
benefits.
she didn't even think about that. Because at no point during that did she say like, "Oh, I mean, I'm sure that like something good could." No, I don't even know if she even considered that because, as we know, and hey, you know, I don't know. Everything's always about her, It is. Let's face it, it
Yep.
is. I don't think she's the type of person to sit there and be like, well, gee, yeah, you know what? I might go on the show and they might put me in my place and tell me what I don't want to hear, what I need to hear. But in the long run, it will be, best for my family, for my child, for me. But no.
Right. So, yeah, that was something that I, thought could probably be very beneficial. And then the other thing that kind of got me really thinking that night when I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is crazy, is I've seen where people have come on and either their kids, if they don't, figure crap out that day, they're going to be taken to child services or foster care, whatever, when he is a huge advocate for how broken that system is. So
Yeah.
he's had parents come on who are just doing everything wrong, including,
Mm-hmm.
constantly drinking, doing drugs, leaving their child home alone, or exploiting them on the internet or whatever. And he is all about reunification. And so he does, during that episode, bring that in and then say, okay, yes, those things weren't good, but what are we going to do today? How are we
Mm-hmm.
going to fix this so we can go and help you out? And he's really compassionate when he actually does that part. Um, so I just thought a lot about, she had some welfare checks that came and CPS, and she was so upset about it when I think reality people, have some concerns, and especially with this stage we're in life right now where a lot of people are quarantined and they don't get to leave the house.
Right.
There's
Right.
been
That there's gonna
child
be the
abuse,
implications. Yeah.
adult.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
the delay in the stream kind of like makes us run into each other sometimes. Sorry about that. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. So, they do. They see a lot of children that are being abused, even being killed, as well as domestic violence, spousal.
Yeah, you're right, man. The implications from the fallout of coronavirus, of everybody being home and all that, the mental health aspect of it, we're gonna see damage for like years to come from this. I
Right.
guarantee it. And not to mention, like you said, the children that are at home. Not saying it's her child. I'm
Right.
saying that children at home are more likely to be abused right now. Even spouses, even whatever it is. It's just it's a nasty world out there right now, man. I can't believe they actually wrote back to you and were interested. That's huge. Like, I can't imagine the people they get. So, Sheila in the chat here has a quick question.
Oh,
Any
okay.
tips on getting on the show for help? Why don't you tell her how you did it?
So, I just went on to his website, drphil.com, and
Right.
you can either fill out a form there, or it also shows you where you could send a letter, or you can even text him. So, um, as far as, I don't know, can you ask if she's ever tried to be on the show
No, I
or?
think she was just asking how one
Okay.
would go about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
their website has emailing and stuff, and and it's pretty self-explanatory. I think you kind of just
Yeah.
tell them your little story, and then they, like you said, they got back to you really fast. So now,
Right.
when they initially got back to you, you were busy with other things going on, and you didn't
Right.
get to get back to them. And in that interim, while you were not, online because you had other stuff to deal with, that was when she must have got her email, and we all kind of went, haha, that's not true. But, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I think, a lot of people don't believe some of the stuff she says because she has been proven to contradict herself with her saying one thing and then another. And that has gone on so much in her videos and stuff that I can see why people didn't believe her. And it was kind of funny because she mocked the person who turned her in, which
Mhm.
I didn't see this turning in, but that's fine. And the way that she was making fun of me and what I did, I thought, I didn't write into the show to say, this girl's crazy, a hot mess, she's ruining
Right.
her life. I honestly thought that he would be someone to help. And part of the reason, too, that I was thinking about, I know that she made some comments about, with the lawsuit, she wouldn't be able to go on. I've seen people who have warrants, who are in lawsuits, all of that, that Dr. Phil has helped. If they accept the help
Right.
from
That's a
him,
really good point.
he
Yeah.
helps. Yeah.
Right. Because
So,
listen, at the end of the day, like, we don't even know, and you don't have to share that either. We don't even know exactly what it was that, like, who's to say it had to do anything with the lawsuit? I'm sure that was a red
right.
flag in the letter, but, like, let's just say, mental health, family, whatever it is, like, it doesn't have to, the show, if she were to go on the show, it wouldn't have to, doesn't mean she has to sit there and talk about the lawsuit. So all these excuses, and at the end of the day, maybe she thinks, well, obviously she thinks she really doesn't need help, because let's face it, if she thought that,
Right.
she wouldn't be online running her mouth. I'm sure her lawyer's sitting there going, hey, you probably shouldn't say these things. And she's going,
Yeah.
yeah, well, you know what, guys, YOLO, because crystal ball, what? But, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. But and I just think it's a really breath of fresh air to hear you and to have you tell everybody, like, you really did have good intentions. You really did want, something good to come of this. Because and I want to say this too, like, as much as I, you know, poke fun at this lady and try to make it a laughing matter, at the end of the day, it's not. And I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I know you don't, obviously. And I think that sometimes we get lost in the shuffle of kind of like pointing and laughing. And
Hmm.
it's good to know that, like, someone like you who doesn't know her personally but saw this from afar and was like, oh my god, this poor child, whatever. But hey, good to know there's still some good people out there, Lisa. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, I, I'm not happy about what she's doing, but I understand all these videos, and I feel like a lot of the people that have started channels and have done lots of videos on her were subscribers of hers
Right,
before, or they were pretty faithful followers, of
right.
her, and then they just couldn't take it anymore. Everything that was said and done, and rudeness, and yeah.
Right, right. And that's the thing too, like, you know, and I noticed when she went live to talk about me and how I was telling everyone that she was a racist. I said, first of all, I said, it appears as though and I know that racism isn't good. That was what came out of my mouth, but she warped it, of course, which is
Good.
fine, whatever. I mean, I knew that was going to happen anyways. It's not really a concern of mine. Say whatever you want. Anyways, she said that, oh, where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. She said that, oh, she goes, T-spiracy, she says she used to be a subscriber of mine, but I don't believe that. You
Yeah.
really think I woke up one day, lady, and was like, hey, you know what? I want to make videos. I think I'm just going to pick, to do K-Joy from Without Crystal Ball, even though I know nothing about her. Like, obviously, I know things
Right.
about her. I would have to know things in order to make the videos. Like, yes, I was a watcher. I know she doesn't want to say that. She doesn't want to admit it. She doesn't want to think that people could like her and then one day not like her. But yeah, majority, I would say, almost all the people that make videos about her used to follow her, subscribe, and had a bad experience. Whether she'll admit it or not, that's what happened.
Correct. Yeah, and that's so crazy because she does always make it out to be, and this is kind of interesting because I just kind of started watching her after one of my kids told me about uh her and this whole thing with Toddy. This is before the lawsuit, but when she had been receiving the cease and desist letters and stuff. And it's just been a pretty big theme to hear her say that people weren't her subscribers, or people are taking things out of context when they actually either screenshot it or did a video of it.
It's really frustrating, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah,
And it's just like the like I was talking about at the beginning with the Jesse thing. It's like I all right. It blows my mind because I consider myself a person who can usually see people for who they are, okay? So the fact that I used to like this woman and that I watched her unravel. Now listen, I'm like, hey, did she unravel one day or was she always screwed up? I just didn't notice. Like,
yeah,
she either hit it better or what, I don't know what it was, but somewhere along the line, that little respect I had for her got frayed more and more and more and more. So obviously we're still deteriorating here. I would like to see her, make a turnaround and kind of like own up and take ownership and have some self-awareness and, whatever it may be. But I don't see that happen
right,
anytime soon. And I said this on I've only done a few lives. One of the other lives I said, hey, in the future, when all this calms down and like, like let's say Todd were to leave her and be like, hey, I'm gonna get a job, whatever it may be. Like, can you take those videos down about us? Especially the ones about his record label. I would. I don't want to damage their lives going forward.
yeah,
That's never my intention. It's never my intention. However, when you double down and say I didn't do my research and you're lying and whatever, when I have 10 links provided where I've got my information, then I'm gonna leave the friggin' videos up, like just out of spite because hey, you know what? I'm a petty bitch, so whatever. But that's that. But
right,
I really hope that her child is doing well, and I really appreciate your good
right.
intentions because not a lot of people do things like that in this community nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one other thing that I also, and this is might get me a lot of people mad, but I'm just being honest here on why I sent stuff in. But Dr. Phil and his wife have worked for a very, very long time to help with substance abuse of pills, of snorting, injecting drugs, but also as benzodiazepine. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak.
It's all right. It's
Basically,
it's hard when you're live. You've never done this before. Like I know. Trust me, I
right?
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never done this before, so
Yeah. It's a lot of
um,
pressure. People don't understand. They think it's like so easy, and no, it's really not. But all
right,
right, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, they
So
help with a lot of addiction stuff. Okay, I didn't really realize
yep,
that.
they do, and even this is where people are probably going to get mad at me, but with Adderall abuse. And I don't know if I told you this, but I watched this couple that went on the show, and I'm really surprised the guy stayed with his wife as long as he did, with the fact of, but of course, he loved her and wanted to get her better. But what was interesting is seeing videos of what she was like before she started a bunch of Adderall and possibly abusing it, were night and day. But this lady, while she was taking more Adderall than she was supposed to, did a lot of the things that Katie's doing. And
Yep.
you would
Yep.
think that someone like Dr. Phil would be like, dude,
Yep.
you stop this Adderall, I'm gonna put you in jail or whatever. And he doesn't. He had a very good conversation with this lady,
Right. He's
letting
not gonna
her
like call the
know.
cops on you and get you
No.
raided or whatever. Like that's not that's not his goal. And I've said that too. And I think there's a huge misconception out there. Speculatively speaking, with
Hmm.
addiction in general, because you look at somebody like Katie Joy, for example, and you look at her and you go, oh, she got a nice house,
Yeah.
whatever. Like there's no way. I think some people really think that like that's not possible for her to like speculatively have a problem with
Hmm.
something like Adderall. But let me tell you, I've mentioned this in one of my very first videos. All the things she does, from the, I call it bird watching, to playing with the hair, to getting really impulsive,
Right.
the mood swings. These are all, it could be part of her
Hmm.
personality, but I never noticed it before. I'm just saying that people notice this stuff, and I think that it doesn't get talked
Definitely.
about now more than it did before. People used to really get going on that, but even as of late I've seen her, well, not anymore because she got her Instagram live taken or something, but she was like, going to town on the red wine. And I mean, it's just like,
Yep.
and she's in a tough situation right now. I mean, she is like, she's got a lot of pressure, and I can
She
see why
does.
that would be hard to deal with. And yeah, so I'm glad that you tried to get her help. But like the saying goes, can't help people who don't want help.
Yeah, and that is so true. And I I do not believe that a doctor told her she could drink with Adderall. But I mean, that doctor should probably not be doing
I think they
practice or
said like,
not
oh, by at
doing
nighttime it should
Adderall.
wear off. I think her explanation of what her doctor said to her was it wears off by a certain time, or whatever, by 7 p.m. I
Hmm.
think she had a time frame, which kind of did make sense, but I
Right.
mean, also at the same time, you don't write a blog about how you're an alcoholic and then wake up one day and say I'm not an alcoholic anymore. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. That article that she wrote really pissed me off, because I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it's never happened. I'm not going to say people can't do it, but to put that out there in the universe and be like, hey, I did it, you're gonna make other people, they can do it too. And like, you need long-term care, you need counseling, whatever it may be. I'm not saying everybody could use a 12-step program, because that's a conversation for another day. But you don't just like handle all that by yourself. So I don't
No.
know. It's just frustrating. It is.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I was kind of say a little bit. I watched all of that. I saw that, and I'm sorry. I can't imagine. I mean, you think of people who have been alcoholics for 20 years, they've gone 20 years without a drink, and then if they slip up and have one, they don't just have one. They they go way overboard. And that's why it's difficult if you're going to put it out there that you and your husband were pretty bad alcoholics, but then on camera that you are choosing to film and put out on the internet, you cannot be mad when people say, why was she drinking? Why is her behavior getting so erratic? And so I think that that's something that's confusing to everybody because she's
Right.
choosing to put those videos out. It's not like, a friend was over and took a video and then put it on the internet without her knowing, or she's choosing to put those things on. But she has worked with so many people, even reality stars that were having addiction to heroin and alcohol. But the sorry, I'm going to circle back to the Adderall real quick because one thing that I wondered, and I don't know. Again, I just want to make that clear because I don't know, but the way her behavior has gone from so much different a year ago, um,
Right.
maybe she's making all these bad decisions and saying everything and reacting this way because she is abusing a substance. And so
Mm-hmm.
if that was it, then I do know also that Dr. Phil could help her with that. It wouldn't be
Right.
like she's going to go on there and they're going to say, I'm taking your son. You know,
Right.
it would come from a place of now, with it being Katie, I could almost guarantee you that the first 20 minutes they're going to be arguing because she's going to say things that he researched, but she's not going to be honest about them at first. That's at least what she's shown to people a lot. So,
Yeah.
but
Judging
I
from my
hope that
experience, her
you
the
guys
way she
help.
acts right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on, Eileen. Her behavior ha- her behavior has nothing to do with side effects of Adderall. Please be careful when you talk about meds. Okay, I understand where you're going with
Okay.
that,
Sorry.
Eileen, and I can respect your point of view. However, I work in the community education of drugs and alcohol, and her behavior
Right.
actually does have a lot of side effects of Adderall, including I mean everything, just everything. We just listed all of them. I mean, she literally Have you ever watched her like self-soothe herself constantly her impulsivity? She was
Yes.
never like this before, Eileen, and that's where we're going with this. It was never like this before. It's almost like, we're watching a progression of somebody kind of spiraling, if you will, so it's not like we're like, hey, she screwed up, she must be on drugs. No, it was never it was
Right.
never like, hey, this is not her baseline. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was never like this before. That's what we're trying to get at here, So something, it might not
Yes.
be drugs. It might not be. It could be mental health. We don't
Exactly.
know. But those two things go hand in hand. Comorbidity of these two
Hmm.
things go hand in hand. There is no, I mean, not very rarely is there an addiction without a mental health disorder or some type of depression, whatever it may be. But in all honesty, I
Right.
think that yes, and ADHD meds do cause outbursts of anger. They do. They absolutely do. And because the
Yes.
neurotransmitters in your brain, even if you don't abuse it, and this is what I tried to tell someone in my comments before, even if you're prescribed it and you take it as prescribed, right? Let's just say
Hmm.
you're not abusing it. You're taking it as prescribed. You're not taking extra. Even in that situation, over time you wear down those neurotransmitters in your brain, okay? And that has an effect, a long-term effect, and that's if you're not quote unquote abusing it, okay? I'm talking about people who take it as prescribed have long-term effects. This is factual stuff. Like, you can look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am a doctor or a nurse, but I have had plenty of friends and coworkers, people that I've helped treat, whatever, with this same exact circumstance. So it's all speculative, it is, but.
It is, but I was very clear and said I'm not saying she is abusing it. I'm
Right.
just giving some examples of what I've seen on um Dr. Phil as well, and how that can be caused from it, and also where he didn't say, well, I'm gonna take your child and do all this other stuff, that he surely would say, hey, let's figure out what's going on. How did we get
Right.
here? How can I help you? And can I set your son up with, the best team of doctors? So again, I didn't say that she was taking too much or addicted, because I don't know. I just have seen patterns, and something's going on. We all know, obviously,
Right, and
over
if
the last.
it's not, if she's not struggling with it, and it's not, like,
Mhm.
if she is taking it as prescribed, if there are mental health effects, then the Adderall is definitely not helping it. And let's be honest, anybody who's in a lawsuit of that level, but without anything, without the Adderall, without the wine, whatever it is, you're gonna be a high strung, bag of nerves.
Right.
So I do sympathize with that aspect. I do. What I don't sympathize with is people who double down on their fuckery. And I can't co-sign that. I just can't.
Exactly.
That's my biggest problem. But and I get it. But yeah, I'm glad,
Yeah.
like Jackie's saying, I believe you did it for the right reasons. Yep, yep.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I honestly did. And I I have a the frustrating part too is, you know, so many people have talked about how she has changed. And with that, if I was in a lawsuit like that, and then I have two, okay, I've had a few children that have severe problems, to the fact of it's only been a little over a year since my youngest son had heart surgery. And then I have another child with epilepsy. Anyways, so um I know how stressful having a medically fragile child is, and especially during the coronavirus, because my son is having to do online school even when his school went back. But because he can't go in that environment right now,
Mhm.
and it's been a year that he's been, cooped up, and we're doing telehealth over iPad or phone when it's not safe to go to the doctor. I get it. I get how stressful that is.
Right.
But
She's also very blessed, though, that she
yes,
has nurse care. I have some people in my life, some friends, whatever. They have children who need a lot of attention, whatever it may be, who are very medically fragile. They don't have the nurses and stuff that she does. So, I mean,
right,
she's so. And I'm not saying that makes it easy. I'm sure she still has difficult days. I'm not saying she doesn't, but like
no,
that. Yeah, that's a lot. She's very lucky she has that, and what I noticed too is I would like to see her someday be like, hey, today I played with my son. He's so cute. We did this. I feel like every time we hear about him, it's always like, I'm suffering because of him. And it's just, I don't know, man.
right,
It's just, it gets so twisted up. And I just hope that, when this lawsuit ends, if it ever does, because, like, remember
right,
jurisdiction? Remember when, do you
yeah,
guys remember jurisdiction? Remember? Like, now where
yeah.
are we?
We're
I don't even know. This lawsuit has gone between Tati and Katie all the way to Michael Salt and, what is it,
mhm.
Michael Brown? Is that his name? Michael Brown? Yeah. Brown. It's craziness. I've never seen anything like it?
Me either. And so I realized that that's stressful. However, reading the documents and seeing them, a lot of it she brings on herself. Um, Unfortunately. But I mean, if you add everything up all together, obviously her family could benefit from some help. And I
Yeah.
truly
And it
thought,
might not be from Dr. Phil. I think
right,
she's too vain or whatever the word is I'm looking for. She's too whatever to go on there and have someone say, "Hey, you're doing this wrong." Because I mean, and maybe she doesn't think she needs it, but eventually, hopefully she turns everything around because, and Katie, if you're listening, I mean, I know you probably feel like the world's against you right now, and I know my channel certainly looks like it. Because you know what, you suck a lot, but
yeah,
hopefully you get it together, girl. You know.
right, yes, absolutely. And hopefully she will, because I think one thing that is hard for her is she can't apologize. And unfortunately, I'm sure if she would have, before this all went crazy, if she would have said, okay, I'll private those videos, I'm really sorry, I won't talk about this anymore, it probably wouldn't be where it is today. So she definitely has some learning to do. Um,
Yep, Sherry just summed this up really well. Where did it go? Hold on. Sherry said, bottom line, she is in severe denial. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, can I
yes.
get an amen?
Oh my gosh, exactly. That is so
Oh
true.
man. All right.
And
Well, Lisa, I'm
yeah,
so glad you came on to just tell everybody what was up with that. And I think a lot of people, when I told them that I had the person who was involved with the whole, Dr. Phil thing coming on, I figured that you were gonna come on. I think they thought you were gonna come on and be like, oh, I just was like, hey, come take your girl, and but
right,
you actually
right.
have really good intentions, and that's really good because this community gets a crap reputation for that. So, bye, Ween
Yeah.
Fane, by the way. I see you leaving over there. But anyways, so yeah. Dr. Phil's
Yeah.
not as bad. I heard, listen, this is the thing with Dr. Phil. He lost his license, I think, in 2017 or whatever, but he's not a technical practicing physician. He's like what is the word I'm looking for? He's a reality physician, which is like this whole nother field sphere that he made for himself. He's got people that are physicians for him or something. So
Right.
that
He
does not
did.
mean he's lost all credibility.
Right. He did he stopped with that, and he has his group, his doctors on his team. So he has
Right.
doctors, he had the child, let's see, what do you call it? Like CPS of Los Angeles, Dr. Sophie. Um, and that's the thing. And he does always say, when someone's like, oh, you're a narcissist or you're this or that, two people talking to each other on the show, he will never say, yes, you are. He'll say, well, you know, I can't diagnose you, but these are the things that would be on my short list. So
Right.
he doesn't do any diagnoses, but he has a great team, and then he created the Doctor on Demand with the telehealth
Yeah,
for
I
his
really like that
son.
doctor on demand. He must be rolling in the
Yeah.
dough over that because he did
Oh,
that
I'm
before
sure.
Corona. He did that right before coronavirus. If you think about it, like that was a genius thing. He must. Can you imagine how well that must have worked out for him? But
Oh my
it's
goodness.
crazy. Yeah, so
So
Erica, we are
well.
here to see people do better. Erica, you're right. Here to see people do better. And then Lauren here, before we go here, is there anything else you want to say, Lisa, before I just say my tagline?
Uh, no, I think if nobody has any questions,
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
yeah.
What's
I mean,
up?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I
I mean, everybody's pretty much in agreement. I mean, anyone who has a PhD has earned the title of doctor. Isn't that the truth? Yep, yep,
yeah, yep.
yep. That's right. And Dr. Cross talked about that too on her channel,
Hmm.
so she made that really clear. But he has a
Yeah,
podcast? I didn't know he had a podcast, huh?
he does, and he
He has a
started
Chris
doing
Watts
true
podcast?
crime. Yeah,
How, what? How did I not know that?
2019 he started doing true crime. So
What?
yeah, check
No
it out.
idea. Man
Hmm.
of many hats, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he
Jeez.
definitely is.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this whole Chris
So,
Watts thing's like literally makes me lose sleep at night for years now. It's crazy, but I don't
oh
want
my
to get it.
gosh,
Jamie, thank
right?
you. That's nice,
Yeah.
Jamie. All right, I'm going to say it one
Okay.
time before we get going here. So,
My
everybody,
favorite.
yep. Todd, come get your girl. All right. Thanks for coming on, Lisa.
All right.
All right. Thanks
Thanks.
for showing up, everybody. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.
Talk to you later, Lisa. Bye.